Hey guys, I have a theory about Thunderbolts, but it might be a potential spoiler for anyone who's going in to watch the movie, so you've been warned. If you don't know by now, Bob from the Thunderbolts trailer is probably Robert Reynolds, also known as the Sentry. He's one of the strongest characters in all of Marvel Comics, and is pretty much a Superman XP. A man with the power of a million exploding suns, Marvel's first superhero. Sentry is the first, the one who came before any of the main Avengers even got their powers. He was a mentor and a friend to all of the superhero community. It's just that he remembers all of this happening, and no one else does. This is because Sentry can warp reality in a localized space around him, which is how he made everyone else forget he existed. In one comic, the first time he meets Reed Richards, he has to convince him he's not a crazy homeless person, because in Reynolds' memories, all of their adventures happened. When he felt it was necessary, though, he made heroes like the Hulk and Spider-Man remember exactly who he was. You may be wondering, if Sentry was the first and the best, why did everyone forget him? An entity called the Void, something that bonded to Robert Reynolds when he first became Sentry, is the reason. It's just as strong as he is, but it seeks to spread destruction wherever it appears. In the books, Reynolds has a dream about the Void returning, which is what stirs him out of isolation. Obviously, Thunderbolts is going to play this very differently. Sentry actually used to have a watchtower, which is exactly where Avengers Tower or Stark Tower stands today. This might come up in Thunderbolts, since in the trailer it looks like the main cast is hanging out in Avengers Tower. Without knowing it, Tony Stark built his tower right on top of where the Sentry's was the entire time. The only reason no one's been able to see the Sentry's tower is because it also is affected by his reality warping powers. The MCU usually nerfs characters to make them sit around the same power level in the movies, but I really doubt it's possible to nerf reality warping. So either Bob has that power or he doesn't. My question is what origin they're going to give him, because it's entirely possible for him to be retconned into the MCU's past, the same way that Peter Parker was retconned into Iron Man 2. But we don't see any of his costume other than his symbol in the trailer. The costume designers are giving him that same homeless look he had in the comics, and he probably gets an accurate costume at the end of Thunderbolts. One possible way they can explain Bob is that he's the next attempt at creating a Captain America after US Agent failed horribly. In the trailer, there's a very specific shot of papers with a bunch of charts on them. Maybe this is the MCU version of his origins. He was grown in a vat or something, an even more perfect and far stronger version of a super soldier, molded by focus groups, scientists, and popular consensus. The blonde hair, which is what he has in the comics, was highlighted on the charts even though Bob shows up with brown hair. Plus, there's a shot of what looks like him tanking bullets, and I think we see a glimpse of his real boots later on in the trailer. The next question is how they're going to adapt the Void. I personally don't think the Void's going to appear in Thunderbolts at all, because Bob himself is a side character in the movie. Void might show up in a post-credits scene, or he'll be referenced as something completely different to the comics. Knowing how Marvel movies love third act CGI fests, it could look like an inhuman creature, or a swarm, or a mass of shadows. Or it's another exact copy of this lab grown Sentry, another failed attempt to create the next Captain America.